Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and I think I'm just like you guys. I am here waiting for the next great thing from Shadowlands, which is patch 9.1. Ever since BlizzCon, Blizzard unveiled the Chains of Domination patch, and we even have had a little bit of a leak as to what it could be, and all those leaks proved to be true during the BlizzCon presentation. But it's looking like a really exciting patch. We have a mega dungeon, which is awesome, huge fan of those. We have a raid that has to do with Sylvanas and the Jailer and the Torghast style raid. We have new updates to Torghast itself, new updates to the mall with a brand new zone. You have so many cool things from the cosmetic side of all the different covenants, and potentially big class changes going forward in patch 9.1. However, we've been pretty quiet on when this patch could come out. We haven't really had anything much about it since BlizzCon. Recently we had a patch 9.05 come out, which is exciting, but it's nowhere near patch 9.1. So when could we be getting patch 9.1? Don't get me wrong, 9.05 has been a great patch. It came out only recently with some great quality of life changes for a variety of features in World of Warcraft. We got some adjustments to the classes, the covenants, the Legos, and the updates, and those were all good, but those are not the big, the 0.1, the 0.2, the 0.3 patches that have a brand new raid and all that crazy content. So while it has been a nice holdover patch, a lot of players are excited for a big content patch for Shadowlands. We do need to take into consideration that Shadowlands was originally delayed, and was probably for the better. Now, there's a lot of games that have been coming out recently, if you play outside of World of Warcraft, that have been coming out kind of half-baked. I mean, just looking at Battle for Azeroth, nobody wanted to see a Battle for Azeroth 2.0. And whether you liked BFA, whether you didn't like it, we can all agree there was some things that were buggy with it. It felt mostly unfinished. The whole first patch before the, 8.1 was just kind of, it felt like it lasted too long with not enough to do. Even though you had the infinite AP grind, it just still felt like there was nothing going on. So Shadowlands had to be delayed. We wanted to see a better expansion out of the next patch for World of Warcraft. We didn't want to see a WoD 2.0 or a BFA 2.0. We wanted something better, something bigger, like a Legion-esque expansion, as a lot of people enjoyed Legion back in the day. So unlike a lot of the games that came out half finished, Blizzard decided to delay Shadowlands in order to make sure that it's more polished, which was a good move and a lot of people agreed with it. But because Shadowlands was delayed, it's possible that the next patch could be delayed as well. During BlizzCon, we had a lot of details on patch 9.1. Blizzard gave quite a lot of information, whether it was the early leaks or whether it was the actual presentation themselves. And there was a lot to cover. There was brand new raid, brand new dungeon, brand new content in general that people want to see more of. We had Torghast updates, a brand new zone that's going to be available from the mod, the way that mounts work inside of the mod, the new bosses, new mounts, so many cool new cosmetical things being added. But there was one thing that I noticed during the BlizzCon presentation is a lack of details on systems. Now, the system that we have for Shadowlands is going to be the Covenant system with soulbinds, conduits, and I guess legendaries are part of that system as well. System of class character progression. Renown, I guess, could be part of that system as well, and we didn't really get a lot of information on it. All I remember is Blizzard talking about how they want to do more with Covenants, soulbinds, and conduits, maybe even adding more types of conduits. Right now we have potency conduits, which increase the general healing, tankiness, damage of your character, just all the aspects that make your character better at their roles. We have the endurance conduits, which are more defensive value. Then we have finesse conduits, which amplify some sort of utility of what our character brings as a class. And Blizzard was thinking maybe add a whole nother type of conduits. They didn't really go into detail on what those conduits are gonna be like exactly. And it didn't seem like they had a clear idea. However, they did say that they wanted to bring it up with the community and have the community impact this decision. The systems of Shadowlands compared to Battle for Azeroth, I feel like are a lot more solid. While BFA, you had to always constantly redo the systems with the Azerite power in the neck, then you had to add the Essence system, then you had to add the Cloak, then you had to add the Corruptions, and you kind of just had to build the system on top of itself. With Shadowlands, you don't really need to put band-aids on it. You can expand the system as is, which is far easier than always have to put in those little fixes to make sure the system doesn't completely fall apart. It's fair to say that the Shadowlands, Covenant, Conduit, Legendary system, while not probably the greatest system in World of Warcraft that we've had, is definitely a solid one and stands well on its own. And players are able to play almost any class Covenant combo they want with very minor gains or losses, and it just works. And with the little adjustments they've done in 9.05, it gives players a lot more options, and most players really do feel like they actually have options of which Covenants they play, unless maybe you are a Feral or Boomkin Druid where Convoke is just way too good. And the fact that Blizzard wants to have more communication with the community in terms of how this system will evolve, I think is a good thing. And that's something they've done for the alpha and the beta of Shadowlands, is a lot of community feedback and involvement. But the lack of clear, concise ways of how the Covenant system and the Soulbind system and Legendaries, how the systems of Shadowlands will progress going into the next patch for BlizzCon, does signal that there could be a potential delay. The next question is, where is the PTR of patch 9.1? And by now that this video is released on a Tuesday, recorded on a Monday, there's a good chance that Tuesday comes around and this video comes out, and then just a couple hours Blizzard pops on 9.1 on the PTR. That makes this whole video completely mute. But we aren't seeing a lot of the early PTR testing for this next patch. And PTR testing is important because, one, it lets us kind of know a ballpark window of when this patch will come out. Once a patch goes in PTR, that means it's about, what, 1 month or 2 months, maybe sometimes 3 months, but it gives us at least an idea of where is the window when this patch is most likely going to be released. It could come out earlier, it could have delays, but the earlier it comes out to PTR, the better of a window we have where it is planned to be released. And of course, there's PTR testing. There's a lot of things that need to be tested. And looking at the alpha and the beta of Shadowlands itself, there was a couple of different fights and raids that had to be reworked like a million times over. For example, the council fight, or most of you guys will know as the dance boss fight, that one actually had to be reworked with the dancing mechanic a couple different times. So the version you guys are playing in right now on the alpha and the beta played completely differently. So if there are any kind of those mechanics that need to be tested and reworked, the earlier the raid and the content comes out to PTR for any kind of reworks in the future, the better. The sooner the content comes out to PTR, the sooner it can get tested properly, and the sooner it can get into our hands. So the fact that we're not seeing it on PTR yet, I mean, I guess by the time this video comes out, literally could have PTR available at the same time, but the longer we wait, the longer it's going to be until we have the next patch in our hands.
I spoke to someone over there, and I asked them about 9.1. I was like, I'm worried. And they even responded with, you know what, I'm worried too. If 9.1 takes as long as they predict it will, even by 9.1, people might not want to play it. And they want this expansion to be so good, and they're just having a hard time. 9.1, we might not see that till August. I asked someone over there, hey, how's June looking for 9.1 release? Was told June would be optimistic.
Of course, there are some concerns that we could have a pretty long delay with this patch. The title clip, I don't think puts a lot of confidence in people in terms of this thing is going to be coming out like in a month or two. Shadowlands was an expansion that was delayed. It's probably a good thing that it was delayed, but it was delayed. And wouldn't that mean that if the expansion itself was delayed, wouldn't the patches themselves get delayed as well? I will mention this, I was surprised that 9.05 came out as early as it did, because I was expecting for it to be 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks before it came out, and then it was like, oh, it's coming out literally next week. Kind of crazy. So that came out pretty quickly, although it is a smaller patch that only adjusted minor things and class changes, which I feel like I've had a bit of a ripple effect. More players are able to play what they want to. There was a bit of meta shifts with it, but it didn't have any new content, new raids, new dungeons, none of that stuff. I still was impressed just how fast that patch came out, because we were expecting for it to be not out for another 2 weeks to a month. But 9.1 is a different beast. It's major content patch. So if the major expansion was delayed, there's a good chance that the major content patch would also be delayed as well. Learning from the lessons of Battle for Azeroth, for Blizzard, it's probably not a good idea to come out with a patch that's lacking. Even though it comes out really quickly, not having a lot of content is probably not a good thing. I mean, nobody was happy when Warlords of Draenor released a major patch and all it had is a selfie cam with a raid opening like 2 months later or something like that. That was absolutely hilarious back in the day, but also pretty embarrassing, and I don't think anybody at Blizzard wants to do something like that all over again. Balancing speed as well as quality is something that's difficult in any aspect of any kind of content creation or project management or really any kind of work. It is a difficult tightrope that people have to walk. So do you want a great quality product that comes out later, or do you want one that comes out earlier so we can play it but it's unfinished? Do we want to wait in order to make sure things are good, or is waiting just going to hamper the product and by the time it comes out no one's really going to have care for it to begin with? Do we release it super early just to make sure that people's attention span is met and then just kind of try to add systems that are behind a little bit later? Or is that just going to be too early and it's just going to have a really negative outlook on the game overall? So as for the question of when is this patch coming out, we have no idea. It could be a couple months from now. It could be all the way in August, as Towley says. We really have no idea. The earlier we get patch 9.1 on PTR, the earlier we'll know. But until then, it's a waiting game. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe as always, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.